was 9 years old, a teacher pointed to me in front of the entire class and said, "That's the boy with the broken brain." For years, I believed that label was my limit. I thought I was slow. I thought I was different. I thought I'd never measure up. But here's what I discovered. The human brain, your brain, has the ability to adapt, to grow, and to change even after a brain injury. And your brain is no exception. What once felt like a curse became my greatest gift because it led me to sleepless nights, years of research, and decades of documenting, experimenting with every technique I could find. That struggle is the reason I became who I am today. We are on a mission to build better, brighter brains, no brain left behind. And the good news is you don't have to spend the 30 years I did to figure it all out. You don't have to spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars I did to learn what I learned. In this video, I'm going to share some of the biggest lessons that I've discovered about how to train your brain. You'll walk away with practical, powerful techniques, very pragmatic, that you could use right away. Insights into how your mindset shapes your memory, your focus, and the daily habits to rewire your brain for greater levels of success. Your brain's your number one wealth building asset. But when's the last time we upgraded it? You get the latest apps, the newest phones, all the technology, but this is the technology too. So if you've ever felt distracted, forgetful, overloaded, or like you weren't living up to your fullest potential, stay with me because this is going to change the way you see yourself and what you're truly capable of. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Growing up, I struggled with learning difficulties after my childhood injury. Reading was exhausting. Retaining information felt absolutely impossible. And school became a source of pain rather than possibility. I know this might sound silly to some, but my escape were comic books. They gave me a sense of hope. If you've ever read a comic book or watched a Marvel or DC movie, you know that most superhero stories start with an accident that unlocks their superpowers. Now, I wasn't bitten by a radioactive book, right? Or a radioactive elephant from my memory. I hope that maybe one day I could find and discover my own superpower also. Fast forward to college, I felt like I was drowning. I was working harder than anyone I knew, but my grades certainly didn't reflect it. I wanted to quit. And that's when a mentor told me something that I'll never forget. He said, "Jim, you don't have a broken brain. You just need to learn how to use it. You need to learn how to learn." Now, that one sentence became the turning point of my entire life because he was right. No one ever taught me how my brain actually works. When you buy something, there's usually an instruction manual, right? But your brain doesn't come with an instruction manual and it's not user-friendly. It rarely gives us you don't have the tools to process information effectively. School taught us what to learn, but not how to learn it. The system was designed, let's say 100 years ago. It was built to prepare students to work in factories, not to really thrive in today's knowledge economy. And if knowledge is power, learning is your superpower. Knowledge is not only power, knowledge today is profit. It's a one-size-fits-all approach, heavy on repetition, light on personalization, and almost no focus on actually learning how to learn, learning how to think. There's no class called remembering. And now, with artificial intelligence, it's changing the world faster than ever. It's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. It's about something called metacognition. Metacognition is thinking about your own thinking. It's the self-awareness of how you learn, how you remember, how you focus, and how you solve problems. When you master your own metacognition, you can adapt to any subject, any challenge, any technology. That realization is what drove me to devote my life to unlocking the secrets and the strategies of memory, focus, and accelerated learning. Now, the first lesson I want to share with you is that mindset is everything. It's the foundation. Without the right mindset, no technique in the world will really stick. Research from Stanford University, there's a psychologist named Carol Dweck. showed that the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset determines not only how we learn, but how we live. A fixed mindset says, I'm just not smart enough. I'll never get better. A growth mindset says, I can improve with effort, strategies, and help from others. In study after study, students with a growth mindset outperformed their peers, not because they had higher IQs, but because they believed change was possible and kept going when things got hard. There are other studies showing the same pattern in different areas of life. Olympic athletes, elite performers, even entrepreneurs. What sets them apart isn't that they never fail, it's that they view failure as feedback. And this belief system keeps them learning, iterating, and eventually succeeding. So if you believe your memory is bad or that you're not smart enough, you'll act in ways that reinforce that belief. Your brain is this ultimate supercomputer, and your self-talk is the program it will run. So if you tell yourself, I'm not good at remembering names, you will not remember the name of the next person you meet because you program your supercomputer not to. Remember, all behavior is belief-driven. If you believe your memory is bad or you're not smart enough, that you'll act in ways that reinforce that belief. You'll avoid challenges. You won't put yourself out there. And the opposite is also true. If you believe you can or believe you can't, either way, you're right. If you believe your brain can adapt and improve, that your potential, your memory, your focus, your reading speed is not fixed like your shoe size, right? Then you'll look for strategies and you'll stick with them. The choice between staying stuck and unlocking your potential begins with your mindset. So how do we shift it? Here's a simple action plan. You could start small. Leave positive reminders around your environment. It might be a sticky note on your mirror that says, I am capable, I'm learning faster every day. But my favorite practice really is journaling. Here's how I do it. You start with one limiting belief. Maybe it's, I'm not smart enough. Write it down. Then ask yourself, why do I believe this? And then write down the answer. Then ask, where did I get that from? You'll realize those beliefs didn't even come from you. They're BS, right? They're belief systems. They're lies, limited ideas entertained. They came from someone else, maybe a parent, a classmate, or like me, in my case, a teacher who labeled me as the boy with the broken brain. So every single time I did badly in school or wasn't picked for sports, which was like all the time, I would say, oh, because I have the broken brain. For a long time, I believed her. But I eventually had a choice. Keep believing her words or believe what my mentor shared with me. That he said, Jim, you do not have a broken brain. You just need to learn how to learn. We tend to believe the negative voices louder than the positive ones. But in the end, we all have a choice. Now, once you have identified where that belief came from, I want you to physically cross it out. And I want you to replace it with a new empowering one. Like, what's the opposite of that? Write something like, I am uncovering my superpowers, or I am learning how to learn. That act alone begins to rewire your mind to start looking for evidence of growth instead of evidence of limitation. And here's one bonus quick tip for you. Read or watch biographies. I can't emphasize this enough. When you study the lives of extraordinary people, you'll notice something very interesting. All of them had setbacks, call them failures, and perceived limitations. But they kept going. They chose belief over doubt. And you'll realize they're not that different from you. So the first secret is simple. Shift your mindset from I can't to I'm learning how. Very, very simple. It's not about perfection. It's about progress, and progress compounded over time transforms everything. Now let's talk about learning techniques, because mindset is the key that unlocks the door. But once you step through, you need the right tools. One of the most powerful methods I use for learning is called a memory palace. Here's how it works. Take what you want to remember and connect it to vivid images inside a place you already know well. Maybe it's your office, maybe it's your school, maybe it's your home. Let's say you need to give a presentation. It might be a sales presentation. It might be something, making a video. Remember, let's say you want to remember 5 points. You could imagine walking through the front door of your home, seeing the first idea sitting on your doormat as a giant object. Then as you walk into your kitchen, the second point is cooking on the stove. By the time you've walked through your house in your mind, every room is holding a piece of that important information to remind you what comes next. When it's time to recall it, what do? All you have to do is mentally walk back through your home. This works because your brain is naturally wired to remember places and images far better than random words or lists. In a world where everyone has access to the same information, the same tools, your mind is your only true competitive advantage. But here's the reality. Most of us, we learn what to think in school. We learned a lot of facts and formulas and procedures, but nobody taught us how to think. That's exactly what Kwik thinking does. In our flagship program, in just 21 days, 3 weeks, inside you'll discover how to think clearly under pressure instead of freezing up, how to accelerate your learning speed so it becomes your real superpower so you can adapt faster than ever before, how to absorb and retain more information with less mental energy and effort. If you're ready to unlock your limitless mind, click the link on the screen. Stop letting unclear thinking hold you back from the life that you're truly capable of creating. Another proven method is called spaced repetition. Instead of reading something once and hoping it sticks, you revisit it at specific time intervals. For example, review your notes on day 1, again on day 3, maybe a week later. Each time you return to the material, the memory trace gets stronger and more permanent. Think about how you learn your favorite song lyrics. You didn't cram them in your head one night. You heard them repeatedly over time. The same principle works with anything you want to learn deeply. Then there's speed reading, one of my personal favorites, because it unlocks one of the most valuable resources that you have, which is your time. Speed reading isn't about skimming or skipping words. It isn't about rushing through a book. It's about training your brain to focus and absorb information more effectively and efficiently. So here's a quick tip right now for you. Before you even start reading, I want you to give yourself a roadmap. You could preview the table of contents. You could scan the headlines, the subheads, the summary paragraph, the images, the graphs. This way, when you read, your brain already knows the structure and is ready to slot details into place. It's like putting together a puzzle. You always start with the edges and the picture on the box before filling in the middle. And don't forget something called active recall. Most people, they highlight, they reread, and maybe think about learning, but the science shows those methods are passive. Deeper learning happens when you test yourself. Try closing your book and explaining what you just read out loud, or teaching it to a friend. They call it the explanation effect. When you learn with the intention of explaining to somebody else, you get to learn it twice. If you can't explain it simply, it means you haven't really understood it. And so this forces you, the act of pulling information out of your mind, it strengthens the memory more than simply putting it in. Each of these techniques is powerful on its own, but when you combine them, wow, it's like a perfect storm, and it accelerates your learning and it really kicks in. Imagine being able to read faster, remember more, and probably most importantly, recall it under stress, recall it under pressure, whether at work or at school or in your everyday life. And if you want to really leverage these accelerated learning strategies, I'd love to help you go deeper. Check out our courses on speed reading, memory, productivity, focus, thinking. Go to kwikbrain.com, Kwik brain.com. Now that you know the secrets to mindset and accelerated learning, don't forget about your lifestyle, specifically your health, your brain health. You can have the best strategies in the world, But if your brain isn't fueled and supported properly, you're always working uphill. Movement is one of the fastest ways to boost your brain power. When you exercise, your brain releases something called BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factors. Big word. Think of it as fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps your neurons grow, it helps them to connect and communicate more effectively, which means better learning, better memory. Even a brisk 20-minute walk can do wonders. Personally, I find some of my best ideas come while I'm moving. As your body moves, your brain grooves. You're training your body and training your mind. It sparks creativity, improves focus, it clears mental fog. Also, remember your nutrition. It's a game changer. Your brain makes up only about 2% of your body mass, but it uses roughly 20% of the nutrients, uses 20% of the energy every single day. That means you need to fuel what matters. You have your omega-3 fatty acids. You get them from foods, salmon, chia seeds, walnuts, eggs. They provide the building blocks for healthy brain cells. Also, remember your antioxidants. I love blueberries. I call them brain berries. You might get it from dark leafy greens. Green tea protects your brain from oxidative stress and premature aging. And as part of the nutrition, don't forget about your hydration. Just being dehydrated 2% can significantly affect your cognitive health and your cognitive performance. So your brain is mostly water. So just remember, if you're dehydrated, it could cause fatigue, poor focus, and memory issues. A simple glass of water, and I add electrolytes or some lemon, some sea salts, sometimes can be the fastest brain boost available. And then remember your sleep, which so many people treat as an option. Sleep is a non-negotiable, and sleep is not passive. It's one of the most active things that your brain does. During deep sleep, your brain consolidates what you learned during the day. It goes from your short to long-term memory. And at the same time, it goes through a kind of cleaning process. It's like the sewage system kicks on when you sleep. In this cleansing process, it clears out toxins and waste that builds up while you're awake that could lead to brain aging challenges over time. If you're sacrificing your sleep, you're not just sabotaging your learning, you're putting your overall health and longevity at risk. Sometimes the smartest, most productive thing you can do is to close your eyes and allow your brain to reset, recover, and recharge. Your lifestyle, your movement, your food, your rest isn't separate from your learning. It's the foundation. When you combine a growth mindset and proven learning strategies and brain healthy lifestyle, you give yourself the ultimate unfair advantage. There you have it. We covered a lot today. I want to leave you with this message. Your brain is capable of so much more than you realize. When I was that little boy labeled the boy with the broken brain, I can never imagine I'd one day share these lessons with millions of people around the world. That's how I know you can unlock your potential that you didn't even know that you had. Remember, you are not your past. You are not the labels other people gave you. You are not your limitations. You have a choice. You can keep telling yourself the same story about why you can't, or you can choose a new story. The one where you believe in yourself, where you train your brain, and where you step into the version of you that's been waiting all along. If you made it this far, that means you're committed to your own self-growth, and that's something to be proud of. Tell me in the comments, what's one growth belief you're committing to today? And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, I read all of them, and share with a friend. Until next time, stay curious, stay positive, and most of all, stay limitless.
you.